First question is from Kirsten Watson. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave, you had mentioned that there was a possibility that we could have seen Cody Bellinger in the lineup today. Do you happen to have an update on him and how he's doing?
It's better today. Not sure, but expecting potentially if we need him to pinch hit in a big spot. But just talking to the training staff, another day would just be more beneficial.
And with Zach McKinstry playing at third, of course, you've discussed his versatility, but what do you like about him in that position?
I just like the way I think he can catch the baseball, throw it accurately across the diamond. And not afraid. So expect him to take 3-4 good at-bats today and help us win a game.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Next question is from Dylan Hernandez. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave.
Hi, Dylan.
Your starting pitchers now are kind of right. They're over, where they were last year, innings wise. How do you kind of see them holding up and kind of dealing with this longer season?
Well, I think all the guys outside of Julio have had a workload of an entire season. So it's an adjustment. Every starter is going through this across the big leagues. So to your question, I think it's just sort of watching each start. And if there's a way you can cut an inning off here or there, do that. But there's other times you just got to watch the game and you got to push guys and understanding they're throwing the baseball well that particular night, where the status of your pen is that night. But I think for us this year, like everybody, we're just really trying to stay on it and monitor it closely.
You mentioned Julio. How do you kind of manage him, given, again, the fact that he's never really gone through a full season before?
Well, I'll say this, is that he is very mature as far as body. He's physical. He's in great shape. And it's not a one-size-fits-all situation. Granted, he's going to pitch more than he's pitched in the big leagues or ever, but his strength and performance and stuff, which we monitor every start, has held. And so I think that if we see anything sort of dipping, that might kind of be an alert. But I don't think that to just the preemptive shut him down, do this or do that, I don't think it makes sense.
Dave, how I don't know, has this been frustrating at all for you guys? It seems like every time you guys are kind of on the verge of kind of turning a corner, maybe taking off, there's another injury, another guy goes down.
It's not ideal, but every team, it seems like, is going through the same thing. And I do believe in the depth that we have, and it gives guys an opportunity. McKinstry has been a little slow the second time around, coming back from the IL, but he's getting an opportunity. You saw Burns in there, and Rayleigh's back again. I expect him to be better this time around. And guys have got to step up. And also the main guys, the core guys that are have been around, have got to play well too.
Thank you, Dave.
Yep.
Next question is from Bill Plunkett. Go ahead.
Yeah, Dave, back to the pitching again. You've said that you expect to rely on the bullpen more in the second half or going forward. Could you kind of walk me through your thought process on that?
It's more of kind of an overall kind of thought, but obviously I pushed Trevor last night. I just felt that the stuff wasn't declining, and it saved us an inning on the back end to not use more leverage guys last night. But I think it's just when it makes sense as far as in a plus or minus game with the bullpen in a good spot to kind of go to them a little bit more. But again, it's not a kind of one size fits all. It's day to day, and just being mindful of it though.
You mentioned the slow start McKinstry has gotten off to since he came back. The same was true with Cody. Does this kind of color your thinking on how long Seager's going to need?
I think it needs to be taken into consideration, but every player is different. But I think with Cody, the value of having him playing defense in center field played a part in that decision as well. And I don't think we're going to look back, or I don't think we regret it. And with Zach, you know, just the versatility, him on the roster, a left-handed bat, played a part in the decision as well. So with Corey, to your question, we'll just kind of see where we're at and kind of evaluate when we get there.
Anything new on his activity level?
No, not today. But I do expect him to get some batting practice sometime next week. Overhand batting practice, starting in the cage and then on the field.
Thank you, Dave.
You got it, Bill.
Next questions from Fabiana Adaya. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave. With Walker, I mean, the stuff has sort of been the same, and the results have been good. But has there been anything you guys been able to figure out as far as like why this maybe had not the same strikeout rate he has in years past?
Fabian, when we watch the game, you can see guys that are swinging early in the count, not getting into at bats. He was exceptional his last start. The goal is to get outs, and when he needs a strikeout, he's shown the ability to get a strikeout, but I'm more concerned about getting outs efficiently.
And then, do you guys expect to have Muncy travel with you guys on this next road trip?
Yes.
Okay. And then, I know obviously it was yesterday, but just going back, I mean, you guys have not hit as well against left-handed starters this year. Have you guys been able to figure out a reason behind that? I know obviously bringing in Albert, part of that, but also like just trying to figure out reasons like why you guys haven't been as successful against left-handed starters.
Yeah, that's real. We're aware of it. We're trying to kind of figure it out. If you look at guys' track records, they have hit left-handed pitching. That doesn't mean they are, clearly. But we're still trying to work on it, and we got to figure it out.
Thanks, Dave.
Yep.
Last questions from Eric. Steven, go ahead.
Dave, Corey Knebel saw him on Friday during the fireworks. What's the latest on him? What's he doing right now?
He's still kind of stretching it out. He hasn't got off the mound yet. I don't really, like to put timelines on things, but I think middle of August is something that is sort of we're hoping for. But again, it's all contingent on how each day goes and his progression. But just to have him around the guys has been a huge lift. And even though he hasn't been on the field with us, Eric, he's really impacted a lot of young players and even veteran players like Blake and other guys on our club. So I like having him around, and hopefully that kind of middle of August happens.
And with Scott Alexander, is that next outing for him off the mound going to be here in Arizona? Have you decided that yet?
We have not decided, but I would expect it'll be here since we're going to be here for another few days. So, you're looking at Tuesday or Wednesday, something like that. Makes sense probably for another sim game.
Thanks, Dave.